His last walk home.
In the quiet, unassuming town of Havenwood, the leaves of autumn were just beginning to turn when 7-year-old Lily Anderson vanished. One moment she was playing hide-and-seek in her front yard, her laughter echoing through the crisp afternoon air. The next, silence. A chilling, unnatural silence that settled over the neighborhood like a shroud. Her mother, Sarah, called her name, the sound growing more frantic with each unanswered call. The bright red ball Lily had been playing with lay abandoned on the lawn, a stark, lonely sentinel in the fading light. Panic, cold and sharp, began its slow, cruel creep into Sarah's heart. Lily was gone. The first scream that tore from Sarah's throat was a sound of pure, primal agony. It was a sound that shattered the peace of Havenwood forever. Neighbors poured from their houses, their faces masks of concern and confusion. The police arrived, their flashing lights painting the twilight in strokes of blue and red. Sarah's world had compressed into a single, terrifying point: finding her daughter. She described Lily to the officers, her voice trembling but precise: the bright yellow sundress, the pigtails tied with blue ribbons, the gap-toothed smile that could light up a room. Every detail was a fresh stab of pain, a memory that was now a clue. That night, as the search began, Sarah stood on her porch, a statue of grief, staring into the darkness that had swallowed her child. Days bled into weeks and weeks into months. The initial flurry of police activity and media attention waned, but Sarah's search never stopped. Her life became a relentless cycle of posting flyers, organizing volunteer search parties, and hounding the local police department for any sliver of an update. Her home transformed into a command center, maps and timelines covering every wall. Sleep became a luxury she couldn't afford. Her nights spent poring over every detail, every half-remembered conversation, every stranger's face from that fateful day. She became a familiar, haunting figure in Havenwood. Her car plastered with Lily's smiling face, her own eyes hollowed by exhaustion but fueled by a desperate, unwavering hope. She refused to let the world forget her daughter. She would not let Lily become just another statistic, another faded face on a forgotten flyer. 2 years after Lily's disappearance, a call came that jolted Sarah from her waking nightmare. A trucker in a neighboring state reported seeing a girl matching Lily's description at a remote diner. He was certain. He even had a blurry photo from his phone. Hope, fierce and blinding, surged through Sarah for the first time in what felt like an eternity. She and the detectives raced to the location, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Could this be it? Was the nightmare finally over? But the hope was a cruel mirage. The girl was not Lily. She was another child with her own family, her own story. The crash back to reality was brutal, a fall from a great height. The crushing weight of despair settled over Sarah once more, heavier than before. This false hope was a special kind of torture, a glimpse of a life that was stolen all over again. Years passed. 5, then 6. The official investigation had long gone cold. Havenwood had tried to move on, but the scar of Lily's disappearance remained, people whispered. They looked at Sarah with a mixture of pity and discomfort, but Sarah never gave up. One day, while cleaning out the garage, a task she'd avoided for years, she stumbled upon an old box of Lily's school projects. Inside, nestled amongst finger paintings and clumsy clay sculptures, was a small hand-drawn map. It was a map of their own neighborhood, but with a strange, crudely drawn X marking the house of their quiet, reclusive neighbor, Mr. Abernathy. Sarah remembered Lily mentioning she was afraid of him, something Sarah had dismissed as childish fantasy at the time. A cold dread, different from the familiar ache of grief, began to form in the pit of her stomach. Why would Lily draw this? The drawing gnawed at Sarah. Mr. Abernathy was an elderly man who rarely left his home, a fixture of the neighborhood everyone mostly ignored. Could he? No, it was impossible. But the image of the map was burned into her mind. Driven by an instinct she couldn't explain, she started watching his house. It was a long shot, a desperate grasp at a straw that probably wasn't there. Then one evening she saw it. Through his basement window, which was usually shuttered, a flicker of light, and in that brief moment, she saw something else, a small, yellow piece of fabric. It looked like a sundress, the world tilted on its axis. Sarah's blood ran cold. She knew with a terrifying certainty what she had to do. She called the police, her voice shaking but firm. "I think I know where Lily is." The police were skeptical, but Sarah's conviction was undeniable. They obtained a warrant. As they entered Mr. Abernathy's dusty, cluttered home, a palpable tension filled the air. They descended the creaking stairs to the basement. The air grew thick and musty. And there, in a hidden, soundproofed room behind a false wall, they found it. A small, makeshift bedroom, frozen in time. On a tiny bed lay a faded yellow sundress and a pair of blue hair ribbons. The truth, hidden for 7 long years, was finally unearthed. Lily had never left the neighborhood. Mr. Abernathy, under the weight of the undeniable evidence, confessed. He had lured Lily into his basement, and in a moment of panic when she tried to leave, a terrible accident had occurred. He had hidden the truth in his basement, living just a few doors down from the searching mother, his silence a monstrous betrayal. The confession brought a horrific end to the not knowing, but it did not bring peace. The trial was a blur of legal jargon and horrifying details. All eyes were on Sarah, watching for her to break, to collapse under the weight of this final devastating revelation. But she didn't. In the courtroom, she was a pillar of quiet, unshakable strength. She spoke of Lily not as a victim, but as a vibrant, loving child whose light had been extinguished. Her testimony was not about vengeance, but about memory. She became the voice for her daughter, ensuring that the world knew the little girl with the gap-toothed smile, not just the tragedy that befell her. Her strength was a quiet, powerful force that commanded the respect of everyone who witnessed it. She had lost her daughter, but she refused to lose herself to the darkness. Havenwood was never the same. The illusion of safety was shattered forever. Neighbors looked at each other differently, the unspoken question hanging in the air. How could this have happened right under their noses? The town carried a collective guilt, a shared sorrow. Mr. Abernathy's house stood empty, a monument to the darkness that had lurked behind a normal facade. But the town also held on to the memory of Lily. A small park was built in her honor, with a playground filled with the sounds of children's laughter, a deliberate act of defiance against the silence that had once gripped them. Lily Anderson became a part of the town's story, a cautionary tale, but also a symbol of a community's enduring love. The town that had lost Lily was also the town that would never, ever forget her. In the aftermath, Sarah channeled her grief into action. She founded the Lily's Light Foundation, an organization dedicated to helping families of missing children and advocating for stronger community watch programs. She traveled the country, sharing her story not as a tale of despair, but as a message of resilience and the enduring power of a mother's love. Her message was simple: never give up hope, never stop searching, and always, always, listen to your children. Lily's life was short, but her legacy, carried forward by her mother's incredible strength, would live on, a beacon of light in the darkness, reminding us all to hold our loved ones a little tighter. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that matters. Stay safe and take care of each other.